We'll start.
All right. So, Patsy, thank you so much for being a contributor to Butchered Sports Talk, to being our soccer guy. I understand, I watched over the weekend. We had a great couple results from the U.S. men's and women's national teams, and wanted to ask you what your thoughts are first, starting with the men's team.
Oh, thanks, Frank. Oh, it's great to be a part of everything. I really appreciate being a part of this. Yeah, the men's team was interesting over the weekend. You know, they had two games, a couple days apart from each other, and the side that Bruce Arena put out against Trinidad and Tobago was a really strong side if you look at it on paper. You know, Timmy Howard in goal, Lendelin, Michael Bradley, of course, is always part of that. Dempsey was playing, which is really nice. Nagby, Josie Altador, and of course Christian Pulisic, who's he's like, trust me, dude, this guy's the real deal. He is absolutely
18 years
amazing.
old.
18 years old.
18. Wow.
Yeah, he's a year older than my son. I mean, it's absolutely amazing what this kid can do. And he's in a really good system over in Germany. He's got good people around him. He's got a great future. Seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders. The United States was just begging for somebody to kind of be the superstar, like this focal point that we've had. Because we really haven't had anybody, since Landon Donovan. And this kid could be it for a long time. So it was really nice to see him get off, and the kid's just playing out of his mind.
Yeah, the future looks bright for him. And in the two goals against Trinidad, right? He did score two goals, right?
Absolutely amazing. Yeah, the kid was absolutely on fire. He has a really nice rapport with Dempsey. They really seem to be clicking together really well. He worked a little bit too. I thought with Altador, I thought he had some good chemistry with him. So I can't see this kid doing anything but going up. God forbid, barring something catastrophic. And then you look at the side that they put out against Mexico, which was a really big game. I think the stadium, the Aztecas, late '60s. This thing was built, so basically the building's almost as old as we are, or at least pretty close.
Yeah.
And up until this past weekend, the United States was only able to take 2 points out of that building, right? Two
Oh,
ties. That was
the
it.
history of the
That
building.
was it.
Wow.
And he turns around and puts Guzan in goal. Omar
For Howard,
Gonzalez
he
is
took
playing.
Howard out. Yeah.
Yeah, there was only three starters, right? Cameron, Bradley, and Pulisic were the only three from the Trinidad and Tobago game that he had playing in Mexico. We really needed those points. So, it shows a lot of confidence. For some reason, Bruce Arena knows how to beat CONCACAF sides. I don't know why, but he's able to do it. And
What about the formation? I mean, what about the defensive or the alignment that he put together for Mexico? Talk
yeah,
a little bit about.
Mexico. He and on paper, he played a 3-4-3, right? Three defensemen, four center midfielders, and three attackers. When in reality, they kind of played it like Chelsea plays their three-man back, where it's actually their two midfielders, their two end midfielders actually drop back, and becomes a five-man back line, right? And you could really tell, especially at the end of the game, where Mexico was really struggling. They had a lot of possession, but they really couldn't get any really good scoring chances off. And it seemed like they just continued to just pester and pester and pester. And Chicharito had a really nice game, and he played well, but they just couldn't break that back line. They just couldn't do it. And it was a really big win, a really gutsy lineup. But man, they look good. They really look good.
Yeah, and a couple things that jump out at me is the preparation, the thoughtfulness in terms of they played in Denver the week before going there, so they were up in altitude already,
Yep.
going to altitude in Mexico City, thinking through how he was going to put the change the goaltenders up, putting fresh legs out there, as you said, only three starters from the game against Trinidad into the Mexico game. It just seems like such a breath of fresh air with Arena.
Doesn't it though? You look at what they've done since he's come in, and he's not really doing anything different, right? He's kind of keeping the old guard. He's not really changing anything up. But the confidence that he seems to show in his side and the players that he's putting on the pitch is just absolutely phenomenal. And you can actually see the way they're playing. You know, their game is flowing. It's a lot more free. They're willing to take chances. They're willing to be a little bit more creative with the ball. I haven't seen Bradley play this good in 2 years.
He's amazing, and he would have just really, I mean, probably if he isn't already, but you can see probably kids all around the world wearing Bradley jerseys if he scores that second goal that goes off the post, right?
Right.
I mean, if he wins that game on his own 2 goals, I guess you probably see, like I said, kids in Germany and England and Italy wearing Bradley shirts.
Yeah, and it's funny because you saw who his midfield pairings are. And all of a sudden, he's just able to start flowing and start getting into the game a little bit more. And it's almost like he's not afraid to do something now. Whereas before, it was almost like he wasn't sure what to do. He would always make a pass, and it would always be a safe pass, but a lot of times it wasn't always the right pass or the good one. Now he's just letting it hang out, and he's coming back, and he's playing well defensively, and it's like it took 10 years off of his life, and all of a sudden he's starting to play, like a kid again.
Yep, it's great to see. So that's good stuff. And what about the women's team? They went over to Norway and also got a pretty good result.
Yeah, the women's team, both games, it was the 8th and the 11th, both 1-0 wins. The 11th was in Norway, and the 8th was in Sweden. And all friendly. So it really wasn't, there wasn't a whole lot of pressure on them. But you're seeing the sides rebuilding, okay? And you don't like to compare and contrast men's side and women's side, but where the men's side seems like they're starting to get their legs under them a little bit, the women's side is just rebuilding, and it's I wouldn't even call it rebuilding as much as I call it reloading. I mean,
they were dominant for so long, and they just had a minor hiccup, I guess you would say. But now you're right; they just look like they're getting strong again.
They're just the system that the women's side has in place, not just on the pitch, and not just their tactics, but from the grassroots level, where you just have all these young girls coming up, young women even, and coming up and playing and just fitting in. And there's the talent pool that Jill has to choose from, because of this hierarchy that she has in place. They just reload. It's just reloading the gun and just shooting. And you're right. They had a little bit of a lull. There's a little gap there right after the Olympics. They seemed to take a little bit of a drop, kind of a little bit of a nosedive. Now you see them starting to come back up, and they're amazing. We saw them in Cleveland last year, and this was right before the Olympics, whenever they were really kind of like at their peak, and they're shot out of a cannon whenever they're attacking. I mean, they're absolutely unbelievable, and they're just reloading. And you watch them now, and then you watch them 6 months from now, and you're going to think, boy, they just didn't look good, back in June. You watch them in August and September, and you see how far they've come. You're going to sit there and go, oh my God, these guys. And you watch them a year from now, my God, forget it.
It's a sign of a great program. It's a sign of a great program.
It really is. It really is. They're going to be amazing.
So they've got the Tournament of Nations. Is that what it's called? Right, coming up this summer.
Yeah, the Tournament of Nations. I kind of like the way the women's side kind of promotes their tournaments and their games. Like the men's side basically has like the Gold Cup, and that's really all you hear about. Where the women's side, they have the She Can Do It tournament, and the Tournament of Nations. They got like 3 games. They got Australia, Brazil, Japan. 2 games in July, the end of July, and 1 game beginning of August. The first game is in Seattle against Australia on the 27th. The 30th are in San Francisco against Brazil. That's going to be a monster game. I don't care what I'm doing. I'm taking time off to watch that. And then the StubHubs in California, they got Japan on August 3rd. That's a Thursday, so hopefully it's not too late. But the Brazil game is a Sunday, so that's going to be
a lot of eyes. A lot of eyes on that game.
Going to be a lot. Boy, I cannot wait to watch that game.
And those are 3 countries that are top 15 in the country. I mean, in the world, right? I mean, their rankings they're all great soccer teams.
Yeah, no one of them is going to be a cakewalk by any means. And Australia, Brazil, Japan, they can all they can beat anybody on any given day. So it's going to be really fun to watch the women's side and see how they can. Because don't forget, even we talk about it a lot. We talk about they can just roll over. They're still rebuilding. This isn't the the team that won the World Cup a year ago, or a year and a half ago, whenever it was. This is a rebuilding side. There's a lot of young, inexperienced girls on this side that are going to, they're going to have to earn their stripes here pretty quick. So it's going to be a real good test for them. I'm really excited to see what they can do.
Well, I'm looking forward to us breaking down those results and maybe even talking a little bit about it as we get close to the games. If we see some things that are interesting in terms of who it looks like they're going to Joe's going to put out there in certain games in certain situations. So let's keep an eye on how that evolves.
Absolutely, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch that.
So let's turn our attention across the pond a little bit. I know you really like Manchester United. That's a team that's a side that you really like to follow. Anything going on there? I know we just got fixtures that were released recently.
The Premier League released their fixture schedule for the upcoming season. It's a typical Premier League fixture schedule where we kind of light at the beginning, and then something like a quarter of the games are played like the last week of November till like January 1st. There's just so many games piled in a short amount of time. And it's the Premier League. It's fun. It's probably it's absolutely the best marketed league on the planet. And there's that's where all the drama is in the Premier League. And United just signed Victor Lindelof from Benfica, 22-year-old center back. They got him from Benfica. He's a Swedish national. He plays on a Swedish national team. He's going to be great in the middle with Eric Bailey, but it looks like this probably could be the end for Daley Blind. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to make this starting side anymore. But you're starting to see United's face change. You're starting to see Jose Mourinho's influence on this side, and you're starting to see how for the last 4 or 5 years, they just kind of underachieved since Alex Ferguson's last season. They just were also rans, and you're starting to see it come around. You're starting to see that them getting all starting to get that swagger back, man. They're starting to be the old Manchester United, the side that everybody hates. It's kind of like for people who don't follow soccer, imagine the New York Yankees, right? That's Manchester United. You either love them or hate them, and they're on their way back. They're going to be fun to watch.
Well, and that drives a lot of that dynamic drives a lot of viewership, right? I mean, it drives a lot of interest when the other sides that aren't as well funded or aren't as well supported, but they have their loyal followers like Newcastle United, who they notoriously probably don't spend a lot of money. They have a strong history, but they just were relegated not too long ago, and now they're back in the Premier League. And sides like that and their followers are looking at Manchester United with that hatred that the Pirates look at the Yankees with, or something like something akin
something
to
like that. Right.
Yeah. That's cool. I saw something the other day that I thought was interesting. Everton, their first 5 matches. Did you happen to see that?
I did not. No, I didn't.
Let's check this out. Everton plays Stoke City at home.
Okay, that should be a win.
Manchester City, number 2 game.
Ooh.
On the road.
Oh, at the Etihad. Okay.
Yep. Then they got Chelsea also on the road.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Tottenham at home. And then the final of their first 5 matches, Manchester United
Oh,
away.
my goodness. Well, you know what? If you're going to have that run, have it at the beginning of the season and get it out of the way. Wow, that is tough. Tottenham is going to be they very well could be a top 4 team. They very well could be a top 4 side. They have everything in place. They have everything going. And boy, they got momentum too. Everton is on the rise. We'll see. I'm not exactly completely convinced that Everton is going to put it together, but they got the manager, they got the good front office, they got everything going for them. So we'll see. City, second year with Pep, man, I think good things happen Pep's second year. Good things happen Mourinho's second year. So, Manchester, blue side, red side is gonna be a tough call. I just saw on I think it was ESPN today, not very long before we started, that there's a lot of talk about Chelsea's manager. Why can't I think of his name? Conte. There's rumors are that he's looking to get out of Chelsea. I don't know if I put a whole lot of stock in that rumor because it is the silly season. So it's like, first everybody's going to Manchester United, and every manager on the planet's leaving. They're all going someplace else. So it gets crazy now. But I thought that was an interesting little rumor. I'm gonna keep an eye on that and see if that thing has any legs. But he had the breakup text with Costa, which was absolutely ridiculous. And others talk of him wanting to leave. If it happens, I'm like I said, I'm not putting a whole lot of stock in it. But if it would happen, man, Chelsea just went down the tank. Just forget it. They will never recover from that ever.
We hope that doesn't happen because we want to see competitiveness where it should be. But speaking of the silly season, there are some things that maybe aren't so silly during the silly season. Are there some things that you've been hearing or seeing, reading about that are of interest to the soccer fan, even the casual soccer fan, of what some of the goings on or movings might be?
Well, let's see. We might as well stay in the Premier League. And might as well stay with United for real quick. Morata from Real Madrid. Real rejected their United's bid again. The bid was supposed to be 90 euros, 90 million. 90 million euros. United's bid was actually 70 million, and Real rejected it. I guess it was kind of blunt. They just said he had no way. We'll see where they go from there. United wants Morata.
Do they counter? Do they come back? Do you think, or is it just like?
No. I think that Real's in a really good position. I mean, they won the double. They're European champions. First team to win the Champions League back-to-back ever. So, they can pretty much sit back and demand whatever they want to demand. Where they have a lot of clout is, there's not a richer sports side on the planet than Manchester United. So they're gonna, and rightfully so. I mean, they're gonna squeeze them dry. You want one of my players, you're gonna pay for him.
Yep.
So I know United really wants Morata a lot, and he would be a great fit. And so we'll see what happens. But 90 million sounds like a whole lot, but for United, it's not. They got the money to spend. You stay in Spain and go to Barcelona. Valverde, their new manager, kind of getting into the groove a little bit. He goes into the office one day and finds out that the front office wanted to get rid of Andres Iniesta. And I guess he blew a gasket. We were talking about maybe historically, other than Xavi, maybe the best center fielder in the history of soccer, right? And you just don't move him. This guy's, it's like trying to move Messi almost. And he went crazy, and he won that and said there is no way we're moving Iniesta, not for anything. So, Iniesta's 33. I don't know how much gas is left in the tank, but even half of Iniesta is better than just about anybody else playing. So,
and he's got such a strong cast around him, and they know each other. I mean, Barca with Messi and Neymar, it's stacked.
Yeah, you got the best player on the planet. Things are immediately in your favor. They're looking at Verratti, the PSG midfielder, would probably come in, and I don't know if they're going to have him play in the midfield, the center midfielder. Historically, Barca likes that defensive midfield. that really allows Iniesta and whoever's on the right, whether it's Suarez or Gomez, to move a little more freely. It allows him to get back up in the attack a little bit and still keeps that midfield safe. Verratti would be a great addition to him. His game is very much in the Barca style. Being a Barca fan, I hope they get him, but we'll see. We'll see. That would be a really good fit. I'm real curious to see that. And boy, Suarez got to step up. I'm talking about Denis Suarez, not
Luis
Suarez. I'm sorry, yeah, because I mean that guy's just forget it. He's ridiculous. So we'll see.
Make jokes. We can make jokes all night, but most soccer fans know. Well, I tell you what, this has been really entertaining and informative for me. I mean, I'm more of a casual fan, but I love watching it. I love reading about it. Your insight is tremendous, Patsy. I really appreciate it. We call you Z. Absolutely. I hope our fans get to know you as Z, and we're looking forward to bringing a lot more soccer content to people. So thanks for joining us on Butchered Sports.